My name is Chloe, and I am 23 years old. I live in New Orleans, a city that breathes with music and history, a place where the air hangs thick and sweet with the smell of jasmine and chicory coffee, but also a city that can hold you tight in its humid embrace, making it hard to breathe sometimes, in more ways than one. Every day, before the sun properly rose, I would wake up in our small apartment in the Marigny, the ceiling fan whirring uselessly against the heat. My daughter, Lily, was my world. She was 5, with a giggle like wind chimes and eyes that sparkled like the Mississippi River at dawn. But Lily also had severe asthma. The damp air, the pollen, the constant battle against dust and mold in our old place, it all conspired against her tiny lungs. My days were a blur of waitressing at the Bayou Bite, a diner with chipped formica tables and the best shrimp and grits in town, followed by picking up Lily from her auntie's house, then rushing home to cook a simple dinner and prepare her nebulizer for the evening. I worked hard, my feet aching by the end of every shift, my tips sometimes barely enough to cover the bus fare home. My dream wasn't fancy. It was just to give Lily a stable home, a place where she could breathe easy, a small patch of grass where she could play without worrying about pollen or exhaust fumes, a life where I never had to choose between groceries and her medication. But every month, the cost of her inhalers, the doctor visits, the worry about an unexpected emergency room trip, it all felt like a heavy stone tied to my chest. The biggest fear that gnawed at me, my internal nemesis, was the terrifying thought that I wasn't enough, that I would somehow fail Lily, that I wouldn't be able to protect her from the very air she breathed. What if I couldn't afford her next prescription? What if she had an attack and I wasn't there, or couldn't get her the help she needed in time? That fear was a constant, icy knot in my stomach. It kept me up at night, staring at the ceiling, listening to Lily's gentle, sometimes strained, breathing. I tried everything to get ahead. I picked up extra shifts, even the dreaded late-night ones when the bar crowd came in, leaving me with only a few hours of sleep before starting all over again. I scrimped and saved every penny, buying Lily's clothes from thrift stores, making our meals stretch with beans and rice, sacrificing anything for myself if it meant a little more comfort or security for her. I even tried selling some of my old things online, hoping for a few extra dollars. My goal was clear. I desperately needed to save enough for a new, powerful nebulizer, a portable one that would give Lily immediate relief wherever we were, not just at home. It was expensive, but her doctor said it would make a huge difference, especially with the hot, damp New Orleans summers. I was so close, maybe just $200 away. But life, as it often does, seemed to delight in throwing curveballs. First, my old car, a rusty hand-me-down, finally gave out on the way to work, needing a new battery and a repair that ate up nearly $100 of my savings. Then, just as I started to recover, Lily had a bad asthma flare-up. It wasn't an emergency room trip, thankfully, but it required an extra doctor's visit and a stronger, more expensive inhaler, wiping out another chunk of my careful savings. It felt like I was constantly running up a down escalator, putting in all my effort only to remain in the same place or even fall back. The goal of that nebulizer felt further away than ever. My lowest point hit one sweltering afternoon. I was at work, hustling between tables, trying to keep my spirits up, when I got a call from my sister who was watching Lily. Her voice was panicked, choked with tears. Lily was having a severe attack. I dropped my tray, not even caring about the crash, and ran out of the diner, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I practically flew across the city on the bus, praying, bargaining with whoever might be listening. When I got to my sister, Lily was gasping, her small chest heaving, her eyes wide with fear. We rushed her to the emergency room. Hours later, watching Lily sleep peacefully in the hospital bed, hooked up to an oxygen mask, I felt utterly, completely defeated. The emergency room visit, even with my meager insurance, wiped out every single cent I had saved for that nebulizer. Not only that, but it left me with new medical bills I didn't know how I would pay. I sat there, tears silently streaming down my face, whispering apologies to my unconscious child, convinced that I had failed her. I was exhausted, heartbroken, and completely out of options. I considered calling my landlord to tell him I couldn't pay rent next month, contemplating leaving New Orleans for a cheaper city, but where would we even go? I felt utterly lost, adrift in a sea of worry and despair. The weight of the world had not just settled on my shoulders, it had crushed me. A few days later, Lily was back home, slowly recovering, but my spirits were still at rock bottom. I was back at the diner, moving through the motions, serving coffee and platters of eggs with a heavy heart, my smile feeling like a mask. The diner was busy, and I barely registered the faces. Then, Mr. Eli came in. He was a quiet regular, an older man with kind eyes and a neatly trimmed beard who always sat at the same booth, always ordered black coffee and a bowl of gumbo. He rarely spoke more than a polite thank you. I served him, my mind lost in the endless calculations of how I would make ends meet. He ate slowly, paid his bill, and left a decent tip, as always. When he walked out, I went to clear his table. Underneath his empty coffee cup, I found a folded paper napkin. My hand trembled as I opened it. Inside was a crisp $1,000 bill, and scrawled in neat handwriting a short note, "For your daughter's inhaler. Keep fighting, Chloe." My breath hitched. I stood there, rooted to the spot, the napkin and the money clutched in my hand. Tears, hot and fast, blurred my vision. It wasn't just the money, though that was a miracle in itself. It was the fact that someone had seen me, truly seen my struggle, and cared enough to do something about it. A complete stranger. It felt like a direct answer to my silent prayers, a lifeline thrown to me just as I was about to go under. That $1,000 wasn't just cash, it was hope. I used that money immediately. First, I bought Lily's expensive preventative inhaler and the powerful nebulizer she so desperately needed. Seeing her breathe easily with the new machine, her little chest rising and falling without effort, was a feeling I will never forget. With the rest, I paid off the most urgent medical bills and, with a new lightness in my step, put a deposit down on a new apartment. It was only a little further away, but it was on the second floor, with much better air quality, no signs of mold, and a small patch of green grass right outside where Lily could play. The financial breathing room, the sense of security that washed over me, allowed me to take a deep, full breath for the first time in years. It gave me the courage to look for a better-paying job with more consistent hours, one that might even offer health benefits. My life truly began to change. I started working at a slightly nicer restaurant in the Garden District, still waiting tables, but the tips were better, the environment more supportive, and the hours more predictable. Lily thrived in our new apartment. Her asthma attacks became less frequent and less severe. She started school and made friends, her laughter echoing through our small, clean home. I carried the memory of Mr. Eli's kindness like a precious torch, lighting my way. It wasn't long before I realized I needed to pay that kindness forward. I started small, leaving a larger tip for a new waitress I saw struggling, or sharing extra groceries with a single mother in my new building. I became a volunteer at a local community center, helping other parents navigate the complexities of medical bills and find affordable childcare. I would sometimes leave a discreet envelope with a little extra cash for a new mother I'd see struggling with her baby at the grocery store, just like Mr. Eli had done for me. I wanted to be that unexpected light for someone else, just as he had been for me. Years passed. Lily grew into a healthy, vibrant child, excelling in school, her creative spirit blossoming through her love for drawing. One sunny Saturday, I was volunteering at a food drive at the community center, Lily by my side, helping me sort canned goods. I looked up and saw an older man, sitting quietly on a bench, watching the activity with a gentle smile. His hair was a bit grayer, and he looked a little more frail, but his kind eyes were unmistakable. It was Mr. Eli. I took Lily's hand and walked over to him, my heart full. I knelt beside him, tears blurring my vision again, and introduced him to my daughter. I thanked him, finally able to share how much his kindness had meant, how it had changed everything for us. He reached out and took Lily's small hand in his smile soft. "Some people just need a little boost, Chloe," he said, his voice raspy with age. "You were one of them, and look at the ripple you've made." Lily, now a budding artist, later drew a beautiful picture of a vibrant New Orleans bayou sunset, with two small figures, one holding the hand of a child and another older figure watching from a bench. I knew then, looking at her drawing, that acts of love, however small, are the true heart of New Orleans, beating strong, connecting everyone, proving that things truly do get better, one kind act at a time.